Chase said he played Fortnite and he saw a Sabrina Carpenter skin and bought it immediately. All right.
It's true.
No other game would Chase do that for.
Maybe Death Stranding too, but like, I think that's really it. Welcome to Video Game Podtimism. It's the Optimist Video Game Variety Show. No, you know what? I didn't like that one. Welcome to Video Game Podtimism, the Optimist Video Game Variety Show, where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
My name is David.
I sounded way too much like an unconfident, like first time, like host or something like that. It's not how I feel. This feels like a clean, a nice, worn glove that I put on weekly.
I feel you. I mean, we've got enough episodes for people to listen to one episode a day for like 2/3 of a year at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, 252.
So yeah, you are a seasoned host. So I respect you to restart it again. But like,
sure,
you sounded good to me, baby. You sounded good.
Yeah, maybe I'm just in my head.
I felt it. Yeah,
you know,
nothing to be in your head.
My identity is shifting so much from single guy to father so soon.
You were still a single guy after being married for like 2 years.
It's odd, like that people used to describe themselves that way. Like, but prior being married, they're like, yeah, I'm still a single man. Or like when people go on their bachelor trips, my last weekend as a single dude. Like, brother,
you are in a loving relationship. Hopefully,
what's been going on up until this point?
Battling, I guess. I don't know. know.
Yeah,
that's how it used to be.
Yeah, soon I will be with child, and so I'm just trying to figure out what my dad intro is. You know,
your dad-tro.
My dad-tro. I don't know what my dad-tro.
You're gonna have to like totally rethink. Like, are you rethinking like the cadence of what you're saying, or are you rethinking like the timbre of your voice? Are you rethinking exactly like the actual words?
I feel like I need to pay attention to like the vibe of it more than the specifics. You know, like maybe some timbre will change, maybe some tempo will change, maybe the words will be totally different.
Sure.
Welcome to this.
Yeah, I think you need to try harder to convey the fact that you have a mustache.
Yeah, sure. That's fair.
That's a very dad thing to have, you know? There you go.
Just rub my mustache on the microphone to make sure everybody knows.
Just 5 seconds of mustache rubbing and then go into the intro. Same as you've done it your whole entire life. We're good.
That's just the Patreon feed. We don't have a Patreon, but if we did, it would just be the 5 uncut minutes of mustache on microphone action. It's the same episode. There's no extra content.
That might get a little freaky. Who knows?
Yeah. It's a horribly boring content though, because it is going to be the same thing week over week.
There you go. Make a little Video Game Podtimism ASMR channel.
This game kind of sucks, but I really do like playing.
Was that quiet enough?
Welcome back to It's another episode of us playing kind of a mid-racing game from the PlayStation 1 era.
Yeah.
This one has Sonic in it.
Is anyone else like Hideo Kojima?
Have you been playing video games, David?
I have, yes.
What you got? What have you been playing?
I have been playing and beating Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Finally. Not that I was waited on bating breath, but I was like, I feel like you must be getting close.
I'd been dancing around this one for a while. It's true.
Yeah.
It was a very fun game. It had a great ending. I don't think a lot of games end well, but I felt like this game really ended nicely.
Mechanically, narratively?
Story-wise, environment-wise, I would say. Yeah. Mechanically, it was about the same game as you'd had for the whole kit and caboodle, but it was just a very fun narrative surprise of what was like the grand mystery of this game. That was
what the circle really was.
What the circle really was, or what the circle really was on. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I will say it just has big boat energy.
Big boat. Wow,
big boat energy. And anyone who listens to this podcast knows how much I like a good boat in a game. I'm a big fan of boats in video games. This one has a good boat in the end. Really classic boat in the end. And
buoyant?
Yes, very buoyant. Buoyant against the test of time, I will say. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a very fun discovery at the end of the game, which I feel like is very in keeping with what is fun about Indiana Jones as an IP, right? It's all about, okay, what are we building up to? And oh, that's what it is. Okay, this is kind of cool and crazy situation, right? Where it's just kind of, it doesn't necessarily turn everything on its head, but it just makes everything you've been doing leading up to it that much more grander. That you have then been doing these like small little things and finding these very secluded kind of crumbling areas, and they've led to you finding this amazing thing out of nowhere. This like truly amazing thing that has supernatural properties as well, which is very fun. So
Indiana Jones too.
Very, very Indiana Jones. Like finding a UFO in South America.
Is that Crystal Skull?
Yeah, that was a weird. That's not a good example, but that's just the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Not a great film. Not his best work, Mr. Indiana Jones. But I digress. Very fun game, very fun ending. Really concludes nicely, I think.
Yeah.
It gets so close to actually like examining Indiana Jones as a character. It like dips its toes in for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then she's like, "Ooh, no, that's a little too spicy for me. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out." So I am curious to see if they do a sequel to this game, if this is just kind of like laying the groundwork for examining him more as a character, which I would be interested in, because I mean, some things that don't get resolved at all are the fact that he's like fired from his job by the end of this game. And I appreciated that he didn't, it's minor spoilers for the game, so if you don't want to know, don't listen. He doesn't end up with the girl in the end. She's just she's like, "No, I got things to do. You got things to do. This isn't going to work right now." So I'm like, okay, cool. I enjoy that. That's nice. So keeps his character more fresh in that regard, more human in a way, right? That he's not just like, all right, I won and now I got the girl. Which is I enjoy that. So I'm very curious to see if they make a sequel to this game, because it seems like it's been doing well sales wise, and I think that they did a really good job with it. And if they had another go at it with just even the same engine and just make another one, just like sand off some of the hard edges, make it so that I don't have to like redo an hour and a half of the game with a bug, that would be cool. It was a fun time, and I think a good example of how a first-person action game can still be engaging and successful in the modern video game landscape, which makes me very excited to see if other developers see this. I'm like, okay, first-person action adventure games, let's do it, let's go, because it is different than playing like an Uncharted, right? There is something about being in the first-person view that is slightly more immersive than just like looking at Nathan Drake being a roguish scamp going around and just murdering dozens of people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm engaged. I'm engaged with the new Indiana Jones property. I think they did a really great job. The music was on point throughout the whole game. Ending was good. I want to see them examine and kind of take apart the character of Indiana Jones in the next one if they do it. I think that would be a really interesting game at that point. Even if they just had the same sort of gameplay, I'd be fine, because the gameplay was good. It was fun. So we'll see what they do.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. Still playing Majora's Mask just a little bit this last week. Didn't play too much of it. Still swamping, making my way with the monkeys, making my way through the new, forest temple-y place. Figured out the inverted Song of Time, because people called it the inverted Song of Time. I just did the Song of Time backwards. So I was like, okay, this is it.
There you
this
go.
is it.
Yeah.
We did it. So I'm moving at like 1/3 pace now, which is...
It's really helpful. Yeah.
Very, very, It really changes the mindset and the grind set of the game, which isn't bad at all. Makes it feel more like not necessarily a typical Zelda game, because there is still that overarching like, I really got to start speeding up a little bit.
You don't
have
unlimited time. Yeah.
I don't have unlimited time to do this. So that is still fun. The time constraint of the game, the whole entire world is still a fun little puzzle, which I enjoy. But it's just making my way through that one. But that's really all I've been playing this past week, Chase.
Wow. Nice. I love that.
What about you? What have you been playing?
I got a couple things. I got 2 games for you, David.
What you got?
The first one is this game.
Oh, I don't get a choice this week.
No, I have an order that I would like to.
All right, I respect the hell out of that. You do your thing, man.
Thank you. I didn't mean to rip control away from you so dramatically.
No, I just wanted to point it out. That's all. I just wanted to let you know I notice.
Yeah, no, you're paying attention. You're present. Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
The first game that I'm playing is this game called The Slormancer.
Slor?
The Slormancer. Slor Mancer.
The hell is Slor?
Yeah, it's like a soul, I think. So this is an ARPG from this company called Slormite Studios.
On brand.
Yeah, on brand, yeah. They put out this game kind of recently, and it was popping on Steam a little bit. And just visually, I was interested in it. Essentially, this also came out like really recently. This was like a May release, so it's pretty hot off the press. My understanding is this was, I think it was in early access for a while, but I truly hadn't heard about it for a long time. So anyway, yeah, so this is a ARPG, which I've been playing, I guess, a little bit more of in the past couple of years. Like if anybody who doesn't know what that is, I think the most famous example is probably Diablo. That's the biggest ARPG, at least as far as recognition goes.
Yeah.
But like Path of Exile is a more recent one, and Reality Break was one that I played earlier in the year that was like a sci-fi ARPG. Mm-hmm. But I think just visually, it will look a little bit like Vampire Survivors. Like you can see the influence for sure. And I think that it feels like there is an intentionality with how many enemies are on screen at any given point, which, Vampire Survivors is similar in that sense of like, sometimes it's supposed to look overwhelming with how much stuff is there. Uh-huh. My guess is that I don't know that this game would have been able to like be influenced like that, because it seems like it's been in development for a little while. So I'm like, I don't know if it possibly could have like totally turned on its head, like the influence from Vampire Survivors, but maybe I'm wrong. Sure. I don't know. Regardless, like even if it wasn't influenced, it reminds me of that. Like there's a similar amount of stuff on screen going on. Essentially the pitch of the game is like you're in this town and you choose like one of three characters that eventually you can play as any of them, but you just got to pick one initially. It's like an archer or a warrior or a wizard or something. So like very like almost gauntlet-esque classes at the start.
Hell yeah.
And essentially the whole town gets like abducted by, I guess, the Slormancer. And
it's really dirty.
Yeah. I think that's partially on purpose.
Okay.
The game is a little crass every now and then. And like not in a way that's horrible, but like I think if you are allergic to like, I guess kind of like online humor and maybe even like outdated online humor, there's a lot of it in this game. Like,
so you're saying there's a lot of millennial cringe in this game.
Yes. In fewer words, yes, that is true.
Millennials are here, baby. We're here to stay. Let's go.
Yeah. So like,
whether you like it or not.
I think like, yeah, some of the writing every now and then I'm like, yeah, that's fun or that's fine. It's like, it's very irreverent. Like the tone of the game is that like, this is all not that big of a deal. It's very tongue in cheek.
Sure.
Despite the fact like, you are wandering around like graveyards with undead enemies and shit like that constantly. Yeah. And like the town is gone for all intents and purposes. But like whenever you find someone, they're like, oh, that was weird. Okay, I'll see you back in town. Mm-hmm. And that's part of it, right? Like that is what the game is setting out to do, is to make this kind of like not low stakes, but I guess humorous, lighthearted in a way, adventure. And not to mention that like from what I understand, the story is not particularly long. And similar to most other ARPGs, like the thing that you're in it for is the end game, is like getting better weapons and, better gear and shit like that. Like that's to me, that is what a lot of these games end up being. And so like the writing doesn't necessarily need to be the thing about it for very long. Just because you're going to be so mechanically focused on this, which I will say that is the part of the game that I really, really like. The thing that's working for me the most is that like there are so many systems, and I think they do a pretty good job of introducing them to you very slowly, because like the first couple of levels is essentially the way the actual like game works is that you will be going from these bespoke levels like one into another, and then like going back to town and like re-equipping and re-gearing and shit like that. And so it's not the kind of open world Diablo style. It's like much more like, all right, let's go to this one and then that one and then come back and then go to this series of levels and then go back. But whenever you get in there, like the first couple are very simple. Like it's just like get to the end, you have a few attacks, maybe you'll unlock another one, and that's really it, right? Like it's very simple. And initially I was like, oh man, like I hope this gets more interesting. But I think the reason they're doing that is because like the systems are so dense and so deep, but they don't want to overwhelm them with you all at once, because if they did, I think I would have been like, no, absolutely not. Like there's way too much shit in here. But like eventually it's like, okay, your character gets upgraded. They've got stats that you need to manage. You have like a skill tree that you can like constantly change if you want to. Like there's no issue with you changing out what skills you have. There's no like cost to it. You can just rotate through like what your build is whenever. There are like specializations that each of those characters have. So like the mage has 3 different kinds of mage that you can build there.
Sure.
Which are all very interesting. There's a ton of different skills, and you can spend Slorm
okay.
to like upgrade any of those skills. And again, those upgrades you can undo and change all the time. So it's like, if you don't like the skills that you've got equipped, just do something different. It's like, it's very forgiving with how you can build these characters. And then from there, it's like, okay, now your skills level up too. And then your weapon starts leveling up. And there are tons of like unique weapons, not just like random drops, but like ones that are pre-programmed into the game and all have kind of different ways that they play.
Yeah.
And once you hit certain level caps, like they'll transform a little bit. So you get a little bit of that like Ratchet and Clank feel.
I was about to say, it sounds a little bit like Ratchet and Clank to me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Which I love. I know that's
you're a big Ratchet and Clank guy, so you're into that.
I love when just something visually changes when you use it a lot. Like that's very cool to me.
It is nice.
So yeah, and like I am sure that I have not seen all the systems that they've got in here. To me, that like, again, I think I like how easy that transition into each of these systems has been, because again, like you look at one of the panels of like the skill tree and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. But because they give you so few choices at the beginning and then just kind of slowly drip feed them to you over time, I feel pretty ready whenever it's like, hey, you unlocked a new thing. I'm like, all right, great. Like I can go check that out. And I know what build I'm working with right now. And so I think it just all fits together really well. All that said, it feels a little bit more casual in compared to like other ARPGs, but I think that that's more of a problem with like the Overton window of ARPGs being so far to like the complicated side.
Sure.
Like there are very few of these games that are just like dead simple, you know?
Yeah.
Like Diablo is maybe a little bit simpler and it is so complicated. Like Path of Exile, I feel like you need to like learn calculus before you can do everything in that game. Like it is just so dense.
Yeah.
And so this one, I think, is at least visually communicates to me like this is a little bit, or the on-ramp at the very least is a little bit easier. And so I do wonder if eventually in like the end game that this will become a very complicated game, or it will require me to become very invested in like every single system. But for now, like I'm having a great time just kind of enjoying it for what it is. I will say the level of polish on the art is also really, really good. Like it's this kind of like pixel arty look to it, and just like all the characters look really good, and like the environments look great. The town, like the hometown, looks really nice.
The characters and just like all the sprites have a nice animation to them too. They feel very bouncy.
Yeah, for sure. It almost reminds me of Rogue Legacy in the way that the characters are kind of built. And it's just good. Like it all looks very good. I will say like the controls of it are a little bit befuddling to me because I very badly want to play it with a controller. And it seems like it's kind of not meant for that. It has like controller settings, like you can change it in the game. So
yeah,
they know that that's an option, but very frequently I'll run into a skill that's like, it needs you to point like an area around the character. Like, where do you want to use this area of effect attack? And the controller, it's like, you just have a default range. It's just going to plop it somewhere over there. Whereas with the mouse, you have like much finer control over where to actually shoot it.
Yeah.
And really the only reason I want to use a controller is because this is like almost like an Enter the Gungeon thing where I need to be running one direction, but looking another direction and shooting that way. And like, to me, just on controller, like the twin stick of it all just works way better for that.
Sure.
And even just like the control setup, like a lot of your skills are on A, and I'm like, I can't do the twin stick thing if I'm also having to hit A. So I like remap them all to like the triggers and stuff like that. But I'm just not really sure, like, am I missing how to play this game in a way? There's some amount of auto aim that the game will turn on when you use a controller. It's like you can kind of designate which target you want to hit. But I find that there's very often, I just kind of want to be aiming in like an area rather than at a specific dude.
Sure.
And so like, yeah, I would go into it with eyes wide open about like, if you're a controller head, then like you may be like not super comfortable in this one because it does seem like it is perhaps intended for a mouse. Like that's kind of how you're supposed to play it. But even still, I'm having a good time. I think each of the classes are also like very distinct. The mage and the archer and the warrior, they all play really different. I'm definitely having the best time with the mage just because like there are so many wild spells that you can do.
Yeah.
And it could be because I'm just like, I played so much Enter the Gungeon that I want to play these kind of games with a ranged character. Cause like the warrior, I'm like, I don't get it. It doesn't feel good to me to play like, not because the game feels bad, but just like my play style. I want to be running away and shooting at them. Whereas the warrior requires you to be like much closer.
Run into them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I definitely reach for the archer and the mage in those cases, but yeah, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. A hesitant recommendation if you are okay with the kind of humor that's in there, at least for the first little while. But if those mechanics are anything that you're interested in, like it is really good. I think that's the part of the game that they just like totally nailed. Yeah. Which is cool. I always want to really like an ARPG. And I feel like a lot of the times, like I never make it to the end game, you know?
Yeah. They're like, usually pretty long though too, aren't they?
It depends on which one. And I think that typically the majority or the bulk of the playtime is in the end game where you're just like grinding through specific like runs, or in, I guess, Diablo, like you're playing through the whole campaign over and over and over again. But I've never gotten to the point where I like felt really compelled to like go back and do a ton of it, you know?
Sure.
I will usually play through a Diablo campaign once, or Torchlight, I think was one of those games. Played through Torchlight like once, and that was cool. But like didn't really go back to it. And so I'm always kind of hunting for like, is there one that will land for me really well and like keep me around? And this feels good so far. So like, I'm hoping that that's possible, but we will see. I think currently I feel good while I'm playing it. So, you know, hopefully I can hang out and do it a little bit longer.
The Halloween Town-esque music isn't going to do it enough for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally Halloween Town. Like I will say the music is pretty good in this game.
The music was fun. I watched some of the trailers and it's good music.
Yeah. The soundtrack is good. I will say, speaking of a very good soundtrack, let me talk to you about the other game that I've been playing.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
This is a game called Super Mariomon, David.
What? Does Shigeru Miyamoto want to know your location right now?
Yeah, he's thinking about it for sure, just uttering that phrase. This is a ROM hack of Pokemon Emerald, but it has been completely replaced, essentially, with just Pokemon stuff, or just Mario stuff.
Oh, they have a Cappy for both Mario and Luigi.
It's nutty, this video game, David. I had heard about this first from Brendan over on Into the Aether, and I think I had seen like on backlog.com, I saw that he had played it, and I'd like clicked through it, and my initial instinct was like, this is not going to be good. Like just looking at it, I'm like, no fucking way, man. And I think part of that is that like there was an era on like newgrounds.com and like eBaum's World where they would put up games that were like definitely just sprites from Mario that they're like, we gave him a gun in this one, and like that is the draw of those games. And like none of them were good. They were all very, very bad. And so I think just my mind connected to that, and I was like, I just don't think that that's going to be all that compelling. And I listened to the episode of Into the Aether where Brendan was talking about it, and I was like, man, this sounds pretty fucking good. Like the description of this game has sort of got me going. And I got it and was like, oh my God, I was so wrong about this video game. I was so very wrong about it.
Yeah.
So essentially, and Brendan had mentioned this, that there is this YouTuber called Alpha Rad that as a April Fool's joke dropped this game of like, hey, we replaced everything with Mario. And it's like really ridiculous and over the top, but like you can play it too. And
wow, it was a joke.
Yes. Yeah. It was sort of a jape. And they had said like, okay, so this developer Cabazco is who made this. They have put together this game and like, check it out, go play it. And I sure have. David, this is a really good video game. This is
you like it.
I am really into this game. I am so surprised just at the level of quality that they have built this game with. Is so good. So like, let's start at the top. Like the reason that any of this is happening is that Princess Peach was like, hey, I have this game that I'm going to start participating in the Mushroom Kingdom. And you're supposed to just go capture some creatures out there, some monsters, and we're going to fight them against each other. Like, that's the deal. And I have nominated 8 of our friends to be like the holders of the stars, that if you go and challenge them and beat them, you'll get a star. And like, that's it. And then once you get all 8, your wish will come true. And
classic Mario.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And they handed out essentially Cappy is how you capture these creatures. You will throw Cappies at them.
Sure. Yeah.
And they'll like fight for you all of a sudden. And so they're like, all right, like come through, like come talk to the princess. She's the first like one who has a star, and yeah, play the game. It's familiar. If you played a Pokemon game, it's definitely familiar in kind of the structure of it. But that's really it. Like the battle mechanics and how like the architecture of the game works is like, yeah, you catch these monsters and you fight with them, but like all of them are so different. Like they're all from Mario games, essentially, mostly from Mario games, I should say. Yes, yeah, it is that kind of game. You definitely get a starter. You can either choose between a piranha plant, a bomb or a blooper. Those little like squid creatures.
Guys?
Yeah. So like the piranha plant is exactly. Yes. Yeah. They do have evolutions, which I was very curious about. Like, do these things change at some point? The answer is yes, which I was just like thrilled about. And yeah, sure enough, you can get a team of 6 and go and like fight these bosses and stuff. It is incredible. Like the sprite work is unreal. Like if you're looking at just like videos of it, like it looks perspective wise like a Pokemon game, but everything else is like, this looks like a Nintendo game. It's unbelievable. The battle arenas are all like Mario Kingdom specific. The sprites for all the enemies are like, that is so high quality and so good. And not to mention, like, there is so much humor in this game that is it feels like its own thing. But I will say, like, playing through it, I'm like, this doesn't feel unreasonable for a Nintendo game. You know, like it is that kind of funny humor that's like, it could be kid stuff, and like there are exceptions, right? Like every now and then they'll make like an internet meme joke or something like that, but it's kind of self-referential to just like Mario games at large. Like I'll spoil just a little bit of part of this game. So if you really don't want to hear it, you know, skip ahead, but I'm just going to mention who is the 4th boss and like kind of what their deal is. But the 4th gym leader is Wario, and essentially you roll into like what is essentially the WarioWare city, and you have to go around and like beat like Jimmy T and all the characters from WarioWare games who are like little mini bosses. And then
love it,
because Wario is trying to like make a knockoff Pokemon game, which is just like very funny given the context of this game. But he's like using everybody else to do it. And like he says at some point, like, I copy pasted all the code. Like what could go wrong here? I will say the boss battle right before him is hilarious and something that like really only truly a ROM hack could do. But is just like so good. There are just like characters from the Mario world like littered around this game in a way that is so much fun. Like Professor Egad is one of the like professors, as if it was Professor Oak or something. That's great. There's a ton of music from other Mario games that's like, you know, obviously the legality of it is all very questionable, but like,
yes,
essentially they have taken a bunch of other Mario game soundtracks and converted them to what it sounds like is just like the chipset for the Emerald soundtrack. And so all of them they sound like a Pokemon game because they're using the same instruments essentially, but it's, you know, stuff that is very familiar. Even the songs that are like originals are like, this sounds perfect. Like it sounds exactly like what this soundtrack should sound like. A lot of it is from the Mario and Luigi Partners in Time game.
Sure.
Like the battle theme is lifted from that one, but obviously it sounds like they reorchestrated it through the chipset of Emerald, put it in here. So like, it's so much fun. I'm having such a good time. And like, part of it is the thrill of being like, who have they got in the Pokedex? You know, like there's 151 of them. So like they got a lot of creatures in here. It's insane.
It really feels like they almost recreated the thrill of like the original Pokemon by doing this.
That's what I've been feeling as I was playing through more of it, is like, this feels the most original a Pokemon game, quote unquote, has felt in such a long time. Because like, you kind of know what you're going to get a lot of the time with a Pokemon game. And like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, it does feel like there is sometimes a lack of like real risks being taken in those games. And obviously because this game is, you know, just a ROM hack, like it's kind of all risks as far as like, would this work as a Pokemon game? Who knows? But like the actual, and what I mean there is like, would this work sales wise as a Pokemon game? But it works extremely well as a Pokemon game to play, you know, like it all fits, it all works. The starter of it all is like, that's perfect. You guys picked exactly the characters that work here. Just the fact that like there are so many friendly faces from different Mario worlds, and that like the game is genuinely funny, like truly funny in a way that like it feels like old Mario RPGs are funny, or like the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, that those are funny. Mm-hmm. It's like, it just seems hard to do, but somehow they've managed to do that in a way that like feels very Nintendo, but obviously, like I said, it's their own thing too.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are randomly generated or not, but like your rival is essentially Luigi. Like he's the dude who will run around, and like every now and then you'll run into him and he's like, bro, we got to fight. And the names that he comes up with for his captures are so funny to me because they like, he doesn't just name them the regular things. He gives all of them nicknames. And so it's like,
of course,
he has like a bomb named like the Chief, and then like Jeffrey or something like that. It's so funny to me. Yeah, because it feels like Luigi is playing a video game and naming the characters after that.
So the person who did Luigi's dialogue is role playing as Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi playing a video game, which is just
great.
Like, so funny. Yeah, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. I'm like halfway through right now. I just got to, I think, the fifth boss, the fifth like gym essentially, which is really fun. I don't want to give away too many of who the gym leaders are, because I think it's very fun to like go to their areas, which are all very unique to them. Like the cities and the spots in which they like hang out are all like, oh my God, this is perfect for this character or whatever. Which is all really fun. The game is structured a little bit differently, which I find interesting. There's like the main hub town of like the Mushroom Kingdom that you go to and fight Peach for the first time, but you'll essentially jump into all of these different like tubes, the pipes that will lead you to like World 1-2 or World 2-1 or something like that, which is you just go down there and then kind of wander through these areas until you get to the city that you want to go to. And from there, once you like get to the end of the city, get the star, then you just come back to that main hub area and go to another zone, which to me is just like fun. It makes going into those new areas just kind of a thrill, because I'm like, what am I about to get? Like, yeah, who is the person here? What is the vibe going to be like? What's the music that they've decided to grab here? And it's great. So I'm really enjoying it. It is a shocking game that it is this good. It also like the thing I'm thinking when I'm playing it is like, how have we not done this yet? Like, how is this a fan project? Because like it feels like such a slam dunk of a Nintendo game to just like, why is the specifically the Pokemon game the only one that we've applied this formula to? Like Nintendo and Game Freak, they have a very good, well, I don't know if good, but like a close relationship, you know, like Pokemon games don't come out on PlayStation 5.
Okay.
And so like, why hasn't this happened?
Zelda Pokemon game.
Yeah. Like why not?
F-Zero Pokemon game.
Anything, you know, like I think the point that this game has made to me so far is that like this formula is fun, really, no matter what. That like the capturing and battling, like it works in many different places, and the Mario of it all is just like such a fun flavor of it in a way that it feels like it fits right in, you know, like I know this is a fan project, but like if Nintendo came out with this and said, this is the game we're doing, I'd be like, yeah, totally. This feels right at home.
There haven't been really many games to kind of challenge Pokemon's throne for this type of style of game. There have been games like all the Digimon games. I see those, right? Yeah. But it's a sparse landscape.
Yeah, I feel like you've seen a handful of games sort of come for the throne a little bit in recent years. Like Nexomon came out a while ago. Temtem was another one that like, I like Temtem a fair bit. I think that was pretty good. Or Koromon was another one. And then obviously fucking Pal World, like so much so that they got sued about it. Yeah. But none of them to me have totally nailed it. You know, like I think that there is just some special sauce that hasn't quite been captured. Yeah. And I'm not even sure that
captured, you said.
That hasn't been captured. And to be frank, I don't know if Nintendo or like Game Freak has it anymore, you know, like that they also may have lost sight of like where the magic is there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just so curious about the state of Pokemon ROM hacking like this, because I think I read it as a yearning for more creativity in the Pokemon space. Like,
yes,
you see constantly these like these ROM hacks that are like, hey, to be clear, like there are so many fucking ROM hacks of Pokemon games, like thousands of these games. If you look up like best Pokemon ROM hacks, there's like lists that are hundreds of games in there. And like, I would say a lot of them are pretty fucking good. Like there are at least 10 absolutely solid ROM hacks of Pokemon games. And I like, looking at kind of the common themes, I think a lot of them, sometimes they'll lean into like difficulty or the like being prepared for like Nuzlocke challenges and stuff like that. Just that they're embracing the things that the community has leaned on for years and years.
Yeah.
And one of the features I see most often is you can catch all of them in this game. Yeah. Which does feel like a very outdated model for Pokemon, that like you got to buy 2 of them, like it just feels so old school in a way that like doesn't match anymore. And like, it's a bummer of a financial decision, but like, is it killing anybody if you just made one, Again, I think why Pokemon like Arceus was so interesting, because it was just one and like you could catch them all in there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And so like, it just feels like an expression of the desire for more interesting stuff, despite the fact like people still clearly love this formula, like it still really, really works. So yeah, Super Mariomon, I am like truly, really, really loving it. It is extremely worth trying. And like just skyrocketed up to like, if you're interested in ROM hacks of games like this, like you got to play this one. It's just like kind of top tier ROM hack for me at this point. Awesome. Obviously it's not going to come with like, you can't get a Pikachu in here, or maybe you can, I don't know. I haven't caught all 151.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of Mario, it feels perfect to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's Super Mariomon. Yeah.
Do you think anything could stop Game Freak if they finally realize that adults yearn for Pokemon as well? That it's not just a thing that children love. Adults who loved it as children still love it and want more mature and complex stories and gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, like Arceus kind of feels like a leaning in that direction for them to see like, could we make one of these that is more compelled for people who aren't just kids? But I also like, I think it's okay if these games are just for kids. But like Emerald is still really good, and like a lot of those games from that era are still really good, despite the fact like those are meant for kids too. Yeah. Like I didn't really play X or Y when those came out. I played them pretty far after the fact and like didn't really have a lot of nostalgia for them, but was like, these are fucking great. Like these are really good games. And so to me, that reads as like, I feel like they can still make games that are like intended for a younger audience, but have like the depth if you want it, Like to me, it doesn't feel like they have to be mutually exclusive, because like, I don't know that I need dark and gritty Pokemon,
Sure.
It kind of feels to me like I would love it if there was an approach to like kind of what Andor is to Star Wars, of like the mainline stuff is for the vast majority of people.
Sure.
And like, I kind of hope that the mainline Pokemon games would be a little bit better than the mainline Star Wars movies these days.
Sure.
But like Andor is exploring very different things in the Star Wars universe. And so it feels like maybe Arceus was kind of a shot in that direction, but like I would like to see them try stuff like that more.
Cool. Come on, Game Freak, you can do it.
Yeah. Or make Super Mariomon 2 and make it your own. Hire this developer and let them make a game, because it's so good. It's so much fun.
Why not?
Yeah. It's again, going back to that like weird quote when Paper Mario Origami King came out, and like that whole thing where they were like, yeah, we need to be like more precious with our IP. So like you can't put a hat on a bomb. Like that's too much. Like it just feels so bizarre. Like why would you do this to yourself? Like not that I like Super Mario Mom for the crossover of it all, but just like I love a lot of these characters, and like they are in the same universe, like Egad is in the Mario universe. It's not like we're really cutting across here.
I don't know. I feel like there has been a change in Nintendo since old Bowser has become president,
Yeah.
There's been a change. I think you can see that with the Switch 2 as well. Just as a system, you can see that with it, and that I feel like they are trying to be more mainstream a little bit instead of just being like the quirky, not also ran but alternative to Sony and Microsoft. They had the success of the Switch, and they're like, okay, now we're the big boys in charge again. And it's hard to reconcile that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like their hardware is kind of going more mainstream, and I hope that most of their software doesn't do that they're still able to retain the sort of charm that Nintendo has.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know. Like, that's not a guarantee, you know, like
sure ain't.
It's just because they have made games like that is not a guarantee that they won't, or that they will continue to do that.
Anything's a possibility with Bowser at the helm.
Yeah, man, I hope that they can see this stuff, because like it does feel like the industry is just currently run by so many people who like don't know what they're doing. Like the super,
it feels like it's run by a bunch of MBAs, you know?
Yeah, like it's business people running the like bigger companies, and because there are increasingly fewer of those companies run by fewer and fewer people, it's like I feel like you're kind of getting away from like who knows what's what, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not making a gamers are right argument, but just like I would prefer it if there were like a lot of money.
Are you making a gamers rise up argument?
Oh my God. No, just like I wish that there was more money put into riskier projects that wasn't just kind of chasing trends and stuff.
Not everything has to be games as a service, guys.
No, they really
You're not gonna take down Fortnite. That's just not gonna happen. The only person that's gonna take down Fortnite is Fortnite. They're gonna have to stumble, and then you can like try to come at them and cannibalize them and whatever you want, right? Take their market share, right?
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna take them down. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I don't know. The industry is in such a weird spot right now.
Chase said he played Fortnite and he saw a Sabrina Carpenter skin and bought it immediately. All right.
It's true.
No other game would Chase do that for. I can tell you that for sure.
No, I don't think so. Maybe Death Stranding 2, but like, I think that's really it.
Is she Norman Reedus, or is she the baby, or is she's someone else?
She's Sabrina Carpenter. She is Sabrina Carpenter in Death Stranding.
She just completely replaces Norman Reedus as the main character, and she's just Sabrina Carpenter being Sabrina Carpenter in Death. You know, I'd be interested.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think I might pay for that. Yeah.
What is Kojima's take on Sabrina Carpenter in his world, or what is Sabrina's take on Kojima?
Yeah.
Who's the boss here?
The boss?
Boss? Big boss?
This will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
I just had a vision of Sabrina Carpenter murdering Hideo Kojima in a field full of white flowers. And that's it. That's all I'm going to end that on.
You have to learn what you want to live for, Sabrina. You have to figure out what you're going to pass down to the next generation, Sabrina Carpenter.
Snake Eater!
This will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Chiz.
It is, I recently had a friend express some interest to me in Seattle of playing The Last of Us. She's been watching the show, and she was like, I wish I could play the games. And I was like, my PlayStation 4 is just collecting dust. Like, do you want to use this and play that?
What a guy.
Well, it's just sitting there and like...
Yeah, what a guy. Don't be humble about it. What a guy.
It's truly no skin off my back. To the point here, what is so nice about it is that like, this is a person who, she was like, yeah, I played games when I was like younger and, you know, played like sports games and baseball and like shit with my brothers and stuff, but, you know, haven't been super plugged into it and like does play Fortnite oddly enough, but is just like not like somebody who pays super close attention to like what is going on in the industry all the time, or like what the hottest new game is this year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, you should check it out. Like, it's an interesting game. I know that like, you know, I think to people who are like into games, like there's a lot of criticisms of the game and just like Neil Druckmann himself.
Yeah.
But I think for anybody who's like not super following that world, I think it still reads as a very impressive video game, you know, like,
yeah,
it's very visually wild. The story, as brutal as it is interesting. And I think like you kind of being in the driver's seat is at the very least provocative. And so essentially like she just like slammed through this video game and like texted me through the process.
She already beat it.
Yeah.
Dang,
crazy.
That's a long, that's kind of a long game.
It was pretty long. Yeah. And like, it was interesting to see the kind of like the spurts that she would go through of like texting me like, oh my God, this just fucking happened. Like, I can't believe this is going on. And then like, you know, silence for a couple of days. And then like, holy shit, I just did this. That was crazy.
Did you prepare her for the brutality of it all?
Yes, I was like,
okay,
you need
good.
to know that not all games are like this all the time, and like, it is rough, you know, like, but she likes the show, and so I was like, well, if you're okay with that, like, it is
Fair
more
enough.
of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my Podtimistic thing is just like watching somebody enjoy video games for the first time. I feel like it usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like people, by the time they get to our age, are pretty settled on like, I do or don't like them.
Fair enough.
Rather than just like an issue of like, I don't know, never tried. Or like, you know, I didn't know the games could be this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that was just like such a joy because she's like, oh yeah, that was like really cool. I really liked all that. And immediately I was like, all right, come on, I got to figure out what's next. Like what's next on the docket, you know?
Yeah. Good questions.
I feel like Uncharted 4 is a pretty easy
Absolutely.
jump from there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like
Uncharted
feels kind of
like
similar.
Just like story-driven games in general.
Yeah.
Would probably be a good call.
Yeah. She was like, what was your favorite game last year? And I was like, I don't know if I want to recommend 1,000 Times Resist right now. Like, you know, it's going to be a lot.
How much time do you have to talk about eternity and feelings and mother-daughter relationships?
Yeah. Like it's a miraculous video game, but like I feel like as the second video game right out of the gate is like kind of a nutty turn.
Yeah, it's like recommending Death Grips to someone who just listened to the Beatles.
Yeah, I'm just getting into music. What do you think I might like? I like noise.
The
core?
money store. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get noited, baby.
Just unbelievable. Yeah, it would be a lot. So I'm thinking maybe a slow ramp up to that one.
Yes. Yeah.
But again, I've been thinking about this a lot just because like, you know, dad stuff. And I would just like love it if at some point my kid and we could like play a game together.
That'd be cool.
And I am so agnostic about which one. I don't give a solitary shit which video game it is. I'm there for pretty much whatever.
Keep the train going with like Doom or Parasite Eve or something, right?
Just unsettling shit for a child. Kid, are you into body horror? You ready for Parasite Eve?
My child, are you into body horror?
And so I've just been like thinking about like how I can introduce it to another person without it being like, that's dad's thing. That's his weird hobby or whatever. But we will see. Very keen on it. Obviously, that's a problem that I won't be solving for a long time because like a baby can't play Super Mario.
Enough. Fine motor skills aren't there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my Podtimistic thing is watching a burgeoning love of video games.
Oh, hell yeah. Love it.
Do you have something fueling your sense of Podtimism, David?
I do. It's a good ending. I feel like oftentimes with any sort of media, really, it's really easy to whiff the landing.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
To just whiff the end. It doesn't build up in the way you want it to. It's a little disappointing. It doesn't get to a place that you thought was satisfying. But when it hits and it just feels good and it feels natural and earned, but also grandiose in a really nice and surprising way, it just hits differently and it feels good when that happens. And I think Indiana Jones and the Great Circle really had a fun, unexpected, but understandable ending that I really enjoyed and was very striking and memorable and enjoyable because of that.
Yeah.
And I think it made the whole game more interesting as a result, which you can't say for a lot of video game endings where it just like makes everything you did throughout the rest of the game feel more important, even if it feels small at the time, right? So hats off to you, Machine Games, Indiana Jones, The Great Circle, wonderful game, really good ending. Nailed it. Really nailed it.
Yeah. I feel like most video game endings are like bad to okay. Like bad to fine.
Yeah.
You know, like most of them are like, that was an ending, you know, like that's fine. And like having done the sort of like education that I did and the like game studies and stuff, making a game is very hard. And it's also like, if you don't plan exactly how the game is going to end, it can feel just like a mad dash. Like, let's just get something on the page, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because like so much of a game's development is like we're playing the first like 5 levels over and over and over again. It's like the later parts, even just like the idea that like somebody would play the whole game, like most people don't. And so like, you know, it kind of makes sense to put your best foot forward. But yeah, it's really nice when like the whole thing is considered and when they're like, yeah, we're really going to put a fine point on this.
Yeah. And I think that what you're saying there is true too. And something I noticed, and like each level felt considered and interesting. And like people put a lot of care and attention into them. It wasn't like where it is how in modern games where like the first couple levels you're like, wow, like a lot of very jaw-dropping moments, big things happen, really interesting narrative stuff, and then the rest of the game's kind of just pedestrian, right? But it really just kept ramping up with this game. It was just like one of the more refreshing games I've played in a while, from a narrative point of view, from a gameplay point of view, and from just a quality point of view, as in like the quality stayed consistent throughout the game, barring a weird glitch that I had, which was not fun. But the fact that I'm still talking about this game relatively glowingly even after that is a testament to just how much I enjoyed it and how well I think it was made. Yeah. So good on you, Machine Games. Well done. Hats off.
Yeah. I wish this was the story I could tell of Tales of Arise, because like that is exactly the description you were talking about, of like, it was so good out of the gate. And I was like, this game has fucking sauce. Like, it is really, really good at the beginning. And I was like, each new town you went to, I'm like, are each one of these going to be like some like capitalist critique? And each one is a little bit different of like power structures and stuff. I'm like, this is fucking good. And then just stumbled over the finish line. I was like, oh man, like, it's so rare that a game stumbles that badly at the end that the rest of it, I'm like
I don't know.
It made the rest of it feel kind of rough, which like, again, because video game endings are usually fine, I'm like, okay, so it wasn't quite as good at the end. That's common, but like it was so rough that I'm like, oh man, do I even like still go to bat for this one? Yeah,
because it makes you re-examine things, and like and that's why I think it is noteworthy that with this one, I'm like rethinking everything I did in this game because of like how cool this ending was for me, at least, right? It's just it puts things in perspective in a very fun way. And but like, what other game kind of stumbled? Like the new Final Fantasy game I heard started off
16
great,
was rough. It started so good, like I was really into it.
Drops, right?
Yeah, it just never really like accumulated. Anyways,
let's materialize a new future for us right now.
Yeah, let's move on to our main thing.
Let's do it.
Cool. Okay. Welcome to Good Games. It's a segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them.
Coming big gulp. My goodness.
Yeah. I almost did a spit take. I've rearranged my furniture, and I'm in my like lounging chair.
Chase is comfy AF right now.
It's so nice. I feel so relaxed.
The man looks visibly relaxed.
It feels great. We got suggested to play a game called Rondo of Swords.
Yes.
We got suggested by listener Domino to play this one. Thank you, Domino.
Thank you, Domino.
On the topic of this game, they had to say, Rondo feels like the most good games kind of game I've ever played. It's a tactical RPG like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy, but the twist is that attacking works by moving through your opponent's space. This allows you to attack multiple opponents at once. It is a separate tutorial that I recommend playing through, as the game is really bizarre if you're too used to the more standard tactical RPGs. And the main story doesn't ease you in too well. There's a whole side quest mechanic that kind of sucks, but the main gameplay is spectacular and worth a peek in for a few levels, even if you don't get invested to finish it. Also, in the mid-game, you can recruit some characters from other DS-era Atlas games, and I find those cameos delightful as hell. I finished by saying, it's not the best SRPG I've ever played, but it certainly is the most inventive, and it will live forever rotating in my head. Thank you, Domino, for that.
Thank you.
Had you heard of Rondo of Swords, David?
I had not, no.
Me neither.
Definitely not. Yeah.
I feel like the DS is an era that like has a lot of games like this that I'm like, I totally missed it. Like, just not even close.
I feel like just as a system, the DS had an insane amount of games on it.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Insane amount of games. Too many, truly, to ever really like grok completely.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like I feel like I'm still like this game learning about releases that I'm like, I didn't hear anything about this.
Yeah.
Like
just lost in the stream.
Yeah. What was this? Like even with the 3DS, the game Attack of the Friday Monsters was a game that Into the Aether was really fond of when they talked about their DS stuff. And that was like another game that I was like, what is this? I like literally had never heard of this before.
I had never heard of that either. Wow. That's the first I've heard of that as being a game.
Yeah. And Rondo Rondo of Swords kind of feels like that. I wonder if I was just like not as plugged in for DS stuff specifically. I was just so focused on like console games at the time that like DS felt like not a step back, but just like something I wasn't as focused on.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Because I'm thinking about 2008 as like, that was like very core like 360 Wii era. And like I was just playing so many console games at the time.
You were probably too busy playing like Rock Band.
Yes. Yeah, truly.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what's the DS anymore? I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure there's some shit I was playing, but still.
A lot of Viva Pinata.
Oh my God. I was just talking to somebody about Viva Pinata and they were like, that's one of my top 3 games. Like,
top 3? Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, live your life with the pinata. I love it.
Yeah. She's a person who loves to garden. So she's like, this was like my shit.
Makes sense.
Into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, can I hit you with some hot stats about Rondo of Swords, David?
Let's hear it.
Hot stats. Hot stats.
Okay, so God, I'm so comfortable. My goodness, this is indulgent. I feel like I've taken like a nice sip of a warm liqueur.
Ooh.
I'm just like laying in this vibe right now. It's so good.
Love it. I love that for you.
This game came out April 28th of 2008 for the Nintendo DS, as we suggested. This was made by the company Success, and they are most commonly known for their Cotton series, which is like, I think a side-scrolling shoot 'em up. It's not a series that I was super familiar with, but there's a lot of games in that in that series. And so like, I think that they are kind of like known for that specifically. They have also made Metal Saga or Operation Darkness, which is apparently an Atlas style World War II tactics game, which I was like, excuse me.
Whoa.
It's
Operation Darkness?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. That's intense.
And they also helped develop Kingdom Hearts Chi, whatever it is.
Is that the phone one?
I think so. Yeah. That's the like deep backstory Kingdom Hearts game.
I mean, you're saying that like others are not the deep backstory Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, that's true. They all are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the games they made. I do have a review, David, from the game outlet Gameki, formerly Zintendo, is their title.
Okay.
I took their review and I ran it through Google Translate a number of times, one language into another, and spat it back out in English to get an artist's interpretation, which I'm going to read for you right now.
How many languages do you go through?
It's variable. It depends on how fucked up it comes out. Because sometimes I'll go through and I'm like, that's way too coherent. Like there's no funny in there.
Back into the pit. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of just do it until it's bad.
Do you have like a common number or like a common sect of languages you put it through?
Yeah, I'll try to hit simplified Chinese because I feel like that doesn't translate well specifically into Latin. Like just the concepts I think between the two languages are really they don't play well together. Wow. I'll usually try to get through like Zulu and Japanese. More than often just trying to go from one language to another one that doesn't have, homonyms? Is that the word of like, it sounds like one thing in one language and another?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, just that they don't have those, where it's like a language that like developed in like a different part of the world.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense translating to the 5 Romance languages, right?
Exactly. Yeah, like it's not German to French to English or whatever. It's like just shit that isn't very compatible with one another.
Gotcha.
And of course, Esperanto. Can't miss the Esperanto.
Gotta do it.
I'll read you the review now, Dave.
Let's hear it.
It cannot rely on the weight of the user because small mistakes can cause major conflicts. They need to have all the information they need to make a decision. The game requires certain skills to play, so even if players get help in the first round, I don't think everyone will win. It is possible to try on jewelry before buying it, but the creators of Sword Rondo spent a lot of time honing their characters, leading to a lot of scenes that could have worked but did. And then they gave that a 6 out of 10.
They could have worked, but they did as well.
But they did also work, yeah.
It's because they tried on the jewelry.
Yeah, true.
That's the trick.
You can do it before you buy it. Yeah, that's huge. It's a really big part of it.
That's the trick to making a scene work. Try on the jewelry first.
Could you tell me what this game is?
Yeah, this is a tactics RPG, top down in the style of like a Final Fantasy Tactics or a Fire Emblem. It's set in a fantasy realm where you are playing what you believe to be the prince of this realm, and you're trying to escape from another country attacking your home capital at the very beginning of the game, and you must escape. And the big thing you alluded to before that's different about this game is that instead of it being just like get up close to a character and then then attack them, or if you're like a ranged character, be far away and attack them. You have to run through the characters with your moves to attack them, which makes a lot of sense for the DS, right? Where you're kind of like tracing a path for your character to run through, right?
Yeah.
That was on the bottom screen, right? Or was that on the top screen?
I don't know, because I played it emulated, and I'm constantly switching between the two screens.
Same. It made no sense to me either, but it would make sense if it was on the bottom screen. It might be on the top screen too. Who knows? But yeah, you have like X number of moves per turn. Of course, the whole entire battlefield is in a grid, so you just like decide where you are going for each of those moves along the grid, and you can get through, like, make a little snake pattern through a bunch of different enemies for a big effective turn for a character. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I think as Domino and as you said, like, the thing is how you fight. Like that's the big twist on this game. I did not play through the tutorial initially, which Domino is correct.
Neither did I. I was so confused. I'm like, how the fuck do I attack?
You must play through the tutorial. It is like critical for the game.
Yes.
Because it's not super obvious like how any of that works or like what skills do and shit like that. Like you really do need to do it.
Yes.
Because I like my first round, they put you into this, the first level where it's like, you're essentially just supposed to run from the enemies that are pursuing you. And I died like 3 times.
I died
like
a
totally
lot
lost.
at first level too. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing at all.
Yes. Yeah. But eventually it does make sense and you are able to like get it. But yeah, I think that's sort of the twist is the attack system. And it really does force you to think about the game really differently. Like you can't play it like Fire Emblem. That's just like not the right way to play this game.
It feels oddly more kinetic because of the way that they do it, which is interesting. And I think that also the way that they visualize it makes it feel a lot more kinetic, because it's just like your character running straight through, and then like you're just going along a background, and then an enemy pops up and you hit them or not hit them, right? Because sometimes they dodge, and then maybe you run through one of your allies and that gives you a boost of some sort, of heals you or gives you a better critical hit chance, and then you go through another enemy, and it just has this very good sense of momentum to it, which is fun.
Yeah, I feel like I had to think about positioning a lot more than I do, or maybe differently than I do in Fire Emblem.
Differently, yeah.
Because like you were saying, I feel like you need to know, like, all right, just being close to a bunch of enemies that I can run through isn't the end all be all. Like it might also be really important to make sure that there's an ally right next to me, because like I am low on health, so I need to heal a little bit, or like to up your crit chance or whatever if you go past another one of them. That all like really makes a lot of sense, but it is a mind shift from run up to somebody, put your big boys in front in Fire Emblem, and like just make sure that a trickle of enemies are coming to fight you at once, rather than like diving straight into the fray.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about this game?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very interesting take on this style of game, on this formula.
Yeah.
That was engaging to me. I thought it tickled a different part of my brain than those other tactics games do. You know, it feels a little bit more, I don't know. I don't know if the word is less tactical or more like artistic in a way. But it feels like both of those at the same time. I don't feel like I have to, like I was worrying as much about my rote positioning, but I was kind of like intuiting more where I was positioning people and then running through them in a way that I did not. I don't get from like a Fire Emblem or an Advanced Wars or a Final Fantasy Tactics, right? It's very free flowing and freeing in a way that is different than those games. Yeah. Yeah,
I think I wouldn't say looser, but I feel like there is a little bit of leeway sometimes in a way that I don't feel that there is in Fire Emblem very often.
Yeah.
In that, like, there's usually a good way to do something. Like in the positions that you get into, it's like, it's almost kind of a puzzle that you will see of like, all right, here's the layout. How do I make this work for me the best? Rather than like, can I even do it? It's like, no, there's probably a good route through here.
Yes.
I just need to see it, which is cool. Cause then it turns it into like almost a puzzle game, which is very cool. The weirdest connection in my brain is that this felt like Puzzles and Dragons.
I was going to say the same thing. Like I was seeing like the whole grid of the screen, and then each grid of the battlefield becomes like either does nothing for me or does something something for me, right? And you have to figure out, okay, the best combination of ups, downs, lefts, rights, whatever, to make it effective. But I was thinking the same thing.
Weird.
Shout out to Garen of Legend, Puzzle with Dragons. Here we go.
Yeah, he was the best of us at that game. But yeah, because like in Puzzles and Dragons, you essentially have to like position the board to your favor of like drag one of the little like balls on the screen, and then to make all of them move, you have to learn like, all right, if I want like one of these like green orbs to shift to the right, I need to kind of like go past it a couple of times with the one that I'm controlling to shift it enough to get it over to the other screen. And like just making runs like that with your mind, because in Puzzles and Dragons, you have like a limited amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to just constantly be thinking really quickly, how do I get all these pieces in the right spot? That it felt like that of like, I need to go buy a certain number of these characters in an optimal spot.
Yeah.
Which seems so silly and like it shouldn't work for a tactics game, but it is very fun. Like, it does work very well.
Exactly. And I think it takes some of the more intense planning of a tactics game out, where you're not worrying about like how far away you're positioned from something, or at least not where I was in the game. I didn't get any ranged characters yet, but there is more of like a artistic brain component to this game in a way that I enjoyed. A more creative part of your brain gets activated than in a typical tactics game, for me at least.
Yeah, no, I see that. Like I really enjoy Fire Emblem, and so it's not really a dig at that game, but I do agree that different parts of my brain are engaging when I'm playing those different games.
Yes.
This and Fire Emblem. They're just kind of different. Despite the fact like a lot of the rest of the game is so Fire Emblem with like your guys sort of leveling up as you go along, and like the visuals of it are very Fire Emblem. Just the story of this kind of like kingdom drama going on in the background is like, this reminds me very much of like the Sacred Stones and stuff like that, the Fire Emblem on
just some
GBA.
Real good high fantasy stuff going on.
Yeah, I can't say that I really followed much of it. Like the first like text crawl, I like for whatever reason it just went by so fast.
It was really fast, right? I was trying to read. I'm like, I don't know if I can keep up with this, and then the last paragraph was gone.
Yeah, they were throwing so many proper nouns at you at once that I'm like, can you just give me a second to like think about like, okay, how does that kingdom relate to this one? And so I just was like, I'm going to pretend like I know these and just keep reading to see if I can like get something out of this.
I was trying to see if I could slow down the text crawl, but then it just made it go faster. And then I'm like, well, now I'm done. It's over. I don't know anything that's going on.
Mercifully, the game knows that you're going to lose the first level probably. You do have to see the text crawl again if you start over.
You sure do.
All right, great. I'll catch it the second time.
Yeah, the second time was better. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily bad that the game is hard up front, because I think it is asking you like you should learn the mechanics of this quickly. But it's a rough way to start the game, I will say, because it's like I think it's pretty hard for a player to lose a game all at once and then have to continue with it. What did I say?
You said hard up front.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, it's okay. I was just like, I don't remember saying anything crass.
I feel like, yes, it is difficult in the beginning, but it's not overwhelmingly difficult.
No.
It is a little oppressive in that you are just completely surrounded on all sides by enemies, and like very powerful enemies who will, some of them just like one shot some of your most powerful characters. But I feel like it's all for a purpose of just like teaching you what to do. It almost reminded me of like that the tree sentinel in Elden Ring. Of like, sometimes you just have to listen to what the mission objective is. Don't worry about fighting people. Just get out of Dodge, right? Just leave. Do what it says, and then you'll continue on with the story. Don't worry about anything else. And it does, I think, do a pretty effective job of teaching you just like the very basic ways of playing the game, of running through people, right? Because that's actually a very easy objective if you know that you can just run through people, damage them, and then get behind them and still be making good progress, right? So it's actually kind of an easy objective, but not necessarily at first blush.
Yeah, because the like lineup of Or like in Fire Emblem games, you have to really crack through someone's defenses if you want to get better positioning next to their enemies. But like you just run right past people in this one if you want to. So like you can kind of get wherever you need to be on the map. It's true.
Yeah. So I think it's just trying to teach you that motion is good.
Yeah. Motion is good. It's cool. It's again, we were kind of talking about the ROM hacking thing earlier, but like it is odd to me that, I don't know, I'm trying not to come off as like negative about this, but like I think inherently to ROM hacking is you have to use the mechanics of a game that already exists. Like that's a common thing.
Yeah.
But even in games that are attempting to go after Fire Emblem, like they're really lifting pretty directly those mechanics a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I like play those games and I like a lot of them, but it's really interesting to see just how a small shift like Rondo of Swords is doing here, that like it's a totally different game all of a sudden. Like you would be, of course, like hard pressed to not say like, yeah, this is definitely Fire Emblem-y, but like the running through people as a way to attack, like I think about this game totally differently than I do Fire Emblem. And
absolutely.
So, like, it doesn't feel like the same thing at all. And like, you know, I've played the like Final Fantasy Tactics and what's the other one? The like big game that like kind of isometric Tactics Ogre is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah, we played that.
Yes. Like any of those games, I think that they're in line with each other enough that like, and to be frank, like usually they don't work very well for me, the isometric games, because I think that they ask you to hit a lot more than Fire Emblem games do. Like I feel like it takes a lot to take down enemies.
Sure.
But even that feels like distinct unto itself. And so just like, it feels like there are such small shifts that could be done to try totally different things. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where all those thoughts lead me to with the ROM hacking and this one, and just the experience of like these tiny little tweaks adding up to such significant feeling changes. I think that we're kind of going through an odd era where like there is a reassessment of games that big companies aren't really doing very much with right now. You know, like Nintendo is not making 2D tactics games right now.
No,
they're kind of making Fire Emblem, and like that is top down, but like the kind of pixel arty approach to it is like, you know, that they aren't really doing that right now. And so I'm not surprised that a lot of companies are doing that, or maybe even Advance Wars is a better comparison because they really aren't doing that other than like the kind of re-release that they did. And so I'm not surprised to see like a bunch of companies be like, well, or a bunch of indie devs essentially be like, can we try and like take a crack at it? And that it does seem like there's a pretty intense adherence to those base mechanics. Again, not that I think there's anything wrong with that, because like that's how you get something like Stardew Valley, right? Is
sure,
like it's taking a lot of stuff from Harvest Moon, but I think that Stardew Valley rightfully is also like, here's a bunch of other shit that's very specific to our game. And that's kind of where the magic is for me a lot of the time, is if you can synthesize some old kind of maybe abandoned genre. I'm sure there's plenty of people who would be like, there are plenty of Harvest Moon games coming out, and like, yeah, you know, Rune Factory was happening, but still like they weren't nearly as popular as Stardew was when it kind of popped off. But yeah, like when you're able to take something that isn't maybe the flavor of the week and do something like really cool and new with it, like that's obviously when you, I think, hit gold. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's an odd position we're in. And this game just kind of made me consider all of that, of like, what's the next evolution of like tactics games that somebody could do that isn't like so adherent to the Fire Emblem formula? Because it feels like it still very much is for a lot of these like not Fire Emblem video games.
Yeah. How can we think outside the box a little bit with this, right?
Yeah. Which is what this felt. This game felt like, oh my God, it would just take a little bit to try something else. Yeah. No, it felt very refreshing, honestly. I will say the art style is very bizarre. It like looks like a lot of the character portraits were like deviant art stuff. Like it feels like somebody like took their Tumblr drawings and put them on here. And I don't mean that disparagingly, but just like there is a style of that era of drawings that it feels like that to me. It's of the era. Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing, but it was just like, this is not your mama's Fire Emblem. It's anime. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like, yeah, it's cool. I had a good time. I do wonder if the story adds up to anything, because I didn't know what was going on really. I was kind of just there for the mechanics. There were already a lot of like twists and turns and drama going on in the story in like the hour or so that I played. I'm like, this is a lot already going on here. How can this actually, you know, culminate into something interesting at this point if it's just like giving me so much up front? Yeah. But I don't know. Atlas has a way of making things just
wild. Who knows?
They do. Yeah. I didn't get to the part where you could recruit like other Atlas characters, and I took a peek. I'm pretty sure these are all characters from games that I like really didn't play.
Sure.
I think Azuna is one of the main ones, but like, man, that would be a real, apparently the Azuna series, and I don't really know. I didn't fuck with it too much, but I feel like that would be such a hit if Atlas was like, we're putting out Rondo of Swords 2 and you can get like Joker in this one or something. Or I don't know, Chie from Persona 4 or something.
Sure.
Yeah. It's cool.
Hulkenberg.
I would love to. Yeah, you can get Hulkenberg in this one. God, that'd be cool. I love Hulkenberg. Such a cool character.
Good character.
Yeah. Anything else about this game? Anything else you want to mention?
But it was just, I thought it was well made. It's a good swing for a different style of Fire Emblem game. And I'm a little sad that more developers don't do something different like this with that style of game. Because I'm not always into just like the standard tactics experience, right?
Yeah.
It's fun to do something different. And I think that they did well with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah.
I think it's totally fair to make more Fire Emblem games and games that look and feel like Fire Emblem, but
Chase is like, don't stop my Fire Emblem pipeline, guys. Let's keep it coming.
Let's keep that one going if we could. But
Daddy must consume.
But I did really appreciate the kind of novel twist that they put on this one.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you, Domino, for this suggestion.
Thank you, Domino.
Hello, it's the outro, and I'm still so comfy. I feel like I've got so much room to move in the couch.
It really felt like you were welcoming people, like very sincerely to the outro that time, and I think it's because you're so comfortable.
I think it is. I think it's the chair. It's just, it makes me feel welcoming.
Hello.
Hey, come on in. We saved you a spot over here. Do you want anything to drink? Do you want maybe a blanket when you sit down? It's not cold in here, but just in case you run cold, we got one of those.
Is it fleece? Is it fuzzy?
It's soft, yeah. I got a couple of those like Costco blankets that are like oversized. They're just fucking gigantic.
I'm a big
nice
man. I like a big blanket.
I do too. I usually will pull when I'm laying down. I'll pull my feet up, so a little bit of the blanket kind of goes under my feet. That just really sets me off to the next sleepy zone. Just real nice.
Nice. Sleepy zone.
If you want
population
if you want to interact with the podcast, you can go to podtimism.com. There are links to a whole bunch of stuff, like our email, and that's on there. We usually don't mention that, but you can email us. You can also join the Discord, which is we live in the Worst Garbage Discord, which is also a podcast network. Hey, we're a part of that. And you can come hang out. We got a little corner over there if you just want to talk Podtimism, but there's a bunch of friendly people there, and they talk about all sorts of shit. So do that if you want to. What channel should I shout out today for what's going on?
Channel of the week? Frog of the week, maybe?
I'm a big fan of IRL photo mode, where people post pictures that they have taken. A lot of people are really good. Every now and then somebody will post in there. I'm like, this is some fucking professional shit. Like, this is some really good stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good channel. But yeah, there's a bunch of other podcasts in there. Like, you got stuff like Can't Let It Go. You got your .zips, which I'm also on if you want to check that out.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of that, we actually did just put out our anniversary episode, our year episode.
1 year of .zip.
Yeah.
Get zipped,
by
baby.
Pretty quick. We the first game we talked about on there was this game called Birth, and it was by the developer Madison Carr, and we liked it a lot, and we asked her if she wanted to come on the episode for the first anniversary, and she did, and it was amazing.
Wow, nice.
We talked about the game Everything, which I had not played before, but it was really good. It's a very bizarre video game. It also influenced Everything Everywhere All at Once, that was neat.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out if you want to. But there's also you got your Frog of the Weeks, you got your girl modes, obviously Into the Aether, and Paws and Claws, and us as well. There's a bunch of podcasts. They're all very good. What else? Scout Wilkinson, thank you for this podcast art. It's good. I like to look at it, and you've done a great job. If you want to help out the show, there's a couple things you can do. One of them is telling a friend and being like, hey, here is a podcast about a really comfy guy. Just like so comfortable.
But like halfway through, he gets comfy. You have to wait until the comfy part.
The rest of it, he's sitting in his regular working chair, and he's got a working man attitude.
You can hear the discomfort of his soul in his working chair.
Yeah. And then the soft relief of sitting in a comfy, cozy chair.
Love to see it.
But you can do that, or you can rate it on one of the podcatchers of your choice. We take take Spotify. We take Apple Podcast. We take your reviews from Pocket Cast. Any of them count. And thank you to anybody who did that. But hey, more so, thank you for listening to this podcast. It's a great service you do us listening to it week over week. And yeah, we don't take you for granted. So thanks for showing up and hanging out and vibing and keeping it tight, you know?
Got to keep it tight.
Yeah. It's that's hard out there. It's hard out there. And so you gotta keep it tight, keep it right. As the Yin Yang Twins said, get it right, get it tight.
Truly, the poets of our time.
That was the Yin Yang Twins, right?
I think so. Mr. Yin and Mr. Yang?
No, sorry, that was Bubba Sparks and Miss New Booty. That's my mistake.
Sparks. Yin Yang Twins was the Whisper song.
Yeah. Yin Yang Twins have quite the catalog.
Yin Yang Twins.
The Yin Yang Queens.
Yin Yang Queens. That means nothing.
That's for sure an Elden Ring lore. The Yin Yang Gwyn.
The Yin Yang Queens came. Turned the world into 10,000 years of perpetual darkness. Everyone only talked in whispers.
Was that it? Was I done with the thing?
I think so. Thank the listeners.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. David, do you have any gaming wisdom?
Oh, yeah. You know, if you don't know how to fight, just run through them. Just run right through your enemy. Just don't stop.
Yeah. Just sort of like astral project through your problems.
Yes. Yeah. If you can't actually fight, just run through it. Get to the other side, baby.
We went to an elementary school. They made us learn songs pretty regularly, and one of them was called Mud, and the solution that they said, or it was really not even a problem in the first place, but it was mud. I love mud. Can't go around it. Got to go through it. Was the lyrics for that one. I agree.
Wow.
I think you do need to go through it.
You have unearthed something within me.
That one stuck around in my brain. I'm not really sure what about it was so sticky.
I forgot mud.
Yeah.
I forgot mud. Thank you for Wait, can you sing it for me?
Mud. I love mud. I absolutely positively
wild about mud.
Can't go around it. I gotta go through it. Mud. I love mud.
Whoa.
Yeah,
wow. That was lurking inside of me for decades.
Nascent.
Waiting for the trigger phrase to activate it once again.
The Manchurian Candidate of elementary school songs.
I'm about to go make some mud.
I feel like it was kind of them to embrace the fact that children can be messy, and that's like a fun thing for them to do.
Yeah.
I will say as a kid, I was like, y'all got this so fucking backwards. I am absolutely going around mud.
I hate mud. Mud's the worst. Yeah.
I was like, no, man, I want to stay clean. I'm not going in the mud.
You were a pretty pristine child. You were never very dirty.
No, I didn't like to get dirty. Like that was not a thing that I loved doing, even as a child. There was a stint in like second grade, I think, where a lot of the other boys were digging holes in like next to our classroom.
Sure.
They got these like they all picked out like their preferred stick with which to dig a hole, and every day they came in just like fucking filthy, and I was like, guys, like learn the lesson. Don't dig the hole. You don't have to, because then you don't get dirty, and that's like really cool.
Wow, that is very young boy coded right there. Absolutely. A bunch of dudes found their own personal stick and started digging holes.
The teachers had to tell them to stop digging because the holes were becoming like a problem. Like they got kind of deep, and so they're like, somebody could like not see the hole and like break their leg or something.
I don't remember this. I don't think I was one of these boys digging holes.
Oh, no. We were not hole digging boys.
I don't think so. I don't think I was a hole digger.
No, I don't think so.
Not me. I was in the Gaga pit, but I wasn't digging holes.
Yeah, for sure. Man, good Lord. What a strange time.
Truly. You're about to relive it.
You got to go, don't go around it. You got to go through it.
Absolutely. Like mud and enemies. Got to go through it.
Like mud and enemies.
Absolutely, positively, well about mud. That is a tune that has been in my soul for a long time. And it's always just kind of lurking back there somewhere, and you've brought it to the surface again.
Honestly, this is kind of a fun role reversal. You are usually the keeper of knowledge.
Yeah.
Of like ancient tomes and secrets from our childhood.
You're the keeper of the mud. You're the mud man.
Well, yeah, I'm the mud man. I'm the mud man.
Chase the mud man, all heart.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
TWG, the worst garbage. Online.